Welcome back to episode 2, everybody. So the first one was just a bit of an introduction in terms of my history, how I did everything, what I did in the past, how I lost some weight, just a little bit, 50 kilos. But now we're going to get into the actual meat of, I suppose, the helpful information. So everything that I've learned for the last 12 years, how can I help you get easier, better, faster results? Because that's what I'm all about. I want to make fat loss and losing weight as simple as possible. So in this episode, we're going to talk about basically just how to get started. So what are the first steps? Even if you're a seasoned veteran or if you're a brand new beginner, this is the first time you've ever tried to lose weight and you just don't know where to start, this is pretty much going to be it. So I won't be going into too much detail about specific calories and things like that, but there's a few fundamental pillars. And these pillars are pretty much what you're going to have for literally the rest of your life. And then everything will vary within these main pillars. So the main pillars are going to be your calories, your training, and your sleep. So they're your three main factors that you have to focus on. And then obviously there's subcategories that go within those. Now, I do find that even from my own perspective, when I lost the weight when I was younger, just confusion and the fact that I suppose there's two main areas that people don't really get to where they want to be, or some people don't even start. And it's usually lack of motivation or lack of time. So it's just either too hard, too complicated, I don't know what to do, or I just don't have the time and effort to put into getting to the body shape and health that I would like to achieve. So it can become just too overwhelming in general. Now, especially with this day and age with social media, everyone's a fitness influencer. Now, yes, I post fitness content, but you'll barely ever see me post shirtless selfies because I'm just, number one, not that kind of person. Number two, you don't really want to see me with a shirt off. And number three, it doesn't help you at all. Me just posting abs photos of me, or specifically just me in the gym training, doesn't help you get your results that you want to get for your individual situation. So I personally would much rather share transformation photos, transformation progress of my existing clients, people who live a normal everyday life, who are getting the results that they want to get following the basic principles. So when you're looking at social media, a lot of people think that you have to become, I suppose, that fitness person. And when you're comparing yourself to, this person who squats 200 kilos and they've got the juiciest bum ever, and that's the kind of bum that you would like, but you don't want to have to put all the effort in to achieve that type of result. Well, I'm here to tell you that you don't necessarily have to. Weight loss is very simple, all right? It's by no means easy. And when it comes to building muscle, obviously that's another story, but we'll cover up a little bit of that today as well. But social media, I suppose, is a double-edged sword because it can push you in the right direction. It can give you motivation to move towards a body fitness shape and goal that you would like to achieve, but it can also demotivate you and completely shut you down and just make everything way more complicated than it actually needs to be. So what I want you to try and understand is that you can fit fitness, weight loss, and training and nutrition into many varying lifestyles. So I've had people who I've trained in the past who literally don't eat a single meal at home because they are so busy with work. And then there's ways to diet and lose weight with that kind of lifestyle. Then there's people who I've trained who are a busy mum of 3 kids, 4 kids. They don't get a chance to go to the gym, but they're on their feet all day chasing the kids around, and they can lose weight and get lean perfectly fine. There is no issues. And then I have people who literally are gym junkies. They love the gym. They want to train in 6-7 days a week. And that's just the kind of lifestyle that they want to lead. So there's no right or wrong. It's basically just what suits your lifestyle at the moment. Now, you sort of do have to understand that something has to change from your current position. So if you're sort of looking at yourself in the mirror now, the first step that you have to sort of accept is the fact that you are in the position that you are because of the amount of food that you've been eating. So if we're talking specifically about nutrition, the body shape that you have now is your fault. All right. It's time to put on your big girl pants, big boy pants, and accept the fact that you got into the position because of all the food and drink that you've consumed over the last 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, however long it's taken for you to get to this point. Now, I 100% agree with you. It's not necessarily your fault in the way it was in your intention to get this way, but the first step is literally accepting the fact that you yourself have gotten yourself to this point, and only you can make the change. All right. At the end of the day, no one is force feeding you food. No one's holding a gun to your head to say that you have to eat this food and you have to gain this weight. It really does come down to the amount of food that you have been eating. All right. So when it comes down to losing the weight, so we're now at the point where we're accepted. We have accepted the fact that we've gained too much weight than we would like. We're at an unhealthy body fat percentage. We don't like the way that our body looks. We would like to lose some body fat. Fantastic. Congratulations, you've taken the first step. The first step is that acceptance. So when it comes to nutrition, it will always and forever come down to calories in, calories out. Now, there is a mind frame that I would like you to start getting into, and that is, and I like to compare nutrition to things like your finances and things like your credit card and credit card debt. So I may mention some of that in this episode. But with your nutrition, when you go into a calorie deficit and you're eating less food in the moment, eating less food right now is an investment into your future self, into your future body shape. All right. Same thing as training. Training is also a delayed gratification process. You don't see immediate results in the first day, month, sometimes even 2 or 3 months. But the amount of effort that you're putting in now and the work you're doing now is something that's going to pay off 3 months, 6 months, 12 months down the track. So with your nutrition, step one is the excess fat that you have on your body is proof that you've been eating too much. No insulin resistance, don't worry about gut microbiome, nothing like that. It's just purely you've been eating too much. However you've been eating too much, it doesn't matter. We just are where we are currently. Now you just need to accept that you've been eating too much than your body needs. So if you eat too much calories or too many calories over a period of time that your body doesn't burn, your body fat will store that. You'll store that as body fat as a reserve. Now the reserve is there for you in a time during famine. So for a time that you can't get access to food or can't get enough access to enough calories, that's basically your reserve, your stockpile for your body to use as an energy source for those times, which is basically if you eat less than your body needs, you will lose body fat. Now, the second step is also understanding that you are in full control of the food that goes into your mouth. So the food that you bought, the food that you prepared, the places that you've gone to eat in terms of the menu that you've chosen, you yourself are in 100% full control, and we need to stop blaming other people completely. It is 100% up to you for you to make the right choices for your goals. So I'll repeat that. It is up to you, 100% your decisions that will get you into the position that you are now, but also get you into the body shape or at that body shape that you want to achieve. It is all on you and nobody else. Now, yes, me being a coach, I can give you the best guidance possible. I can cut away all of the crap and the nonsense and the background noise and show you the path. But at the end of the day, it's still you who puts the fork inside your mouth to chew the food that you would like to eat. You've accepted that fact. Now, once you've understood that the amount of food that you've been currently eating has led you to where you are now, it's a matter of eating less than that amount. Now, yes, you can go on to calorie calculator sites and start figuring out how many calories that you need to be eating and things like that. But even if you, just from a very basic fundamental standpoint, if you are just eating less than you have been currently, if you cut pretty much all of your portions almost in half to where you are now, that will most likely put you into somewhat of a deficit. Now, I am always of the approach, I always like to count calories. I just find it's the fastest, easiest way for you to determine, is the amount of input, so the amount of calories that I'm eating, causing a result. But just understanding from even just a very basic fundamental standpoint, if you start eating less than you currently are now on an ongoing basis, you will most likely start losing results. Now, will you need to upgrade your strategy later on down the track? Most likely, because as you lose weight, your metabolism does slow down a little bit. You have social events, how do I handle those types of things, all that sort of stuff. But just from a basic understanding, you just need to be eating less than what you are now. And that will start resulting in positive changes in your body composition, meaning you will start losing body fat. Now, when it comes to training and trying to fit in exercise in and around your busy lifestyle, now it does require some amount of effort. So it does require a conscious effort and then a physical effort for you to say to yourself, I need to go and do some exercise, and I need to put my body through physical movement or physical stress to do some training. Now, number one, you absolutely don't need to do training to lose weight. As long as you eat low enough calories, yes, technically you will lose weight. But having said that, training or even just purposeful physical activity go hand in hand with long-term success. And this is for me as well. This works exactly the same. I find if I'm doing at least even just basic weight training sessions per week, or even at least putting in some physical activity for the purpose of physical health, or with the goal of trying to improve my own fitness and shape, then my nutrition goes out the window. So I don't stick to my nutrition plan. And that's just because I feel like physically I'm not putting the effort in, so why would I put in more effort into my nutrition? When in fact, if you're not doing any training, you should be emphasizing nutrition even more. So when it comes to training, I usually would like to say, first and foremost, pick something that is the path of least resistance. Do things that you enjoy the most. So if you just like going for a walk, start there. Anything is better than zero. Even if you start off with 10 push-ups a day, and that's all you started with, and you did that twice a week. Going from 0 push-ups to 10 push-ups is 10,000% better than sticking with 0, just because you can't do the 5 or 4 day per week program that someone said that you should be doing. All right. Now there's different levels to the game, obviously. So as you slowly progress and you increase from 10 push-ups to 11 push-ups to 12 push-ups, and then you start doing some squats and then some other activity and some jogging and running and whatever you like to do. The goal is to always try and achieve a little bit more than the last time that you did it. Now, when it comes to I'm always biased to weight training. So I feel as though that you get the most bang for your buck weight training versus most other activities. Now, if you're a sedentary person like me, if you just work at a desk job, or if you don't go, you don't get many steps in the day, you don't really enjoy exercise that much. Like me, I really don't enjoy exercise at all. When it comes to training, I like to get the most bang for my buck in the shortest amount of time that I can get, that makes the best changes to my body. So yes, in terms of priorities, we like to prioritize health first and then aesthetics second, but there's nothing saying that we can't work towards both, with a priority or an emphasis on your health first, and then after that follows your aesthetics, which I'll sort of cover off in a moment as well. So with your training, once you start getting into the habit of actually training a little bit more in regards to going to the gym, you've actually found some time, or you have a home gym, you have some resistance bands at home, there's 3 main factors you want to take into consideration, which is your frequency, the intensity, and the volume. So I'll try and get this as simple as possible. Frequency is simply how many times per week can you train. Now, I've had clients who don't train at all, and they just literally are just busy mums. They just chase their kids around. They just get in, 20,000 steps just picking up toys all day. Now, that's fine. If your activity is built into your day naturally, bonus. Then you don't have to worry about doing any extra activity or steps or cardio or anything like that. Now, if you go with the idea of you want to build some shape, so you want to build some strength or improve your strength, you want to increase your bone density, you actually want to build some muscle definition, because usually most people in their head, when they decide that they want to go on their weight loss journey, they have a specific body shape or look in mind that they would want to achieve. Usually that's somewhat more of a leaner, little bit more muscular look. Now for the women out there, doesn't mean that you have to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but just, toned, a little bit of definition. That requires weight training. And I'm going to be doing an episode on this in terms of why women should weight train and specifically do heavy weight training. But I won't digress into that topic today. But everyone ideally should be weight training because there's a whole host of health benefits. It's probably one of the least injurious types of training that you can do. And it allows you to vary how often you train, how hard you train, and how much you do per session very easily. It's very controllable. So how often you train, how often can you realistically get in per week? Most training sessions, you could do anything from 15 minutes up to 45 minutes. Now, yes, I would recommend that you would try and get closer to the 30-minute per mark full body training. If you're a basic beginner, I would recommend at least 2 training sessions per week. Now that's not to say that Shannon said I have to do 2 training sessions. I can only do 1, therefore I'm not going to do it. No. If you can start with 1, do 1. If you can then increase to 2 is great. If you want to go down to a bit more of a fitness body shape, so you sort of look like you go to the gym a little bit, 3 days a week is fantastic. Now, if you want to do more than that, go for it. Me personally, I've been a personal trainer for 12 years, longer. I've been dieting and training since I was 15 years old. My training will vary at different times through the year depending on my personal life circumstances. Sometimes I can be really busy with work. I run multiple businesses. I have 2 kids. Different times of the year I could be really busy with clients and not so busy with clients. So my training can sometimes vary from 2 days a week all the way up to 5 days a week. But you don't need to do 5 days a week. It's not an absolute rule. You do what you can do given the restraints that you have. Now, the intensity that you lift is basically how heavy is the weight. So if I was to squat 100 kilos and I can squat that for 1, that is basically 100% intensity. Now you don't need to lift that heavy. So you can pick a weight that you can manage for 15 or 20 repetitions, and then that might be say 50% or 30% intensity compared to your 1 repetition maximum. As a general rule, what I would usually start most people off, and again, depending on the exercise, is anywhere between 10 to 20 repetitions, especially if you're a beginner. Now, the reason I would choose this option is because not only does it allow you to get more practice in with those movements, because you get to do more of those movements, the weight isn't necessarily heavy enough to cause any injuries, and you can recover quite quickly from them. So not on a session by session basis, but even on during the session itself. So if I'm doing 10 repetitions, I can recover from that in 30 seconds to maybe a minute. Okay. If I'm doing 1 repetition or 3 rep max, I am taking at least a 5, maybe 7 minute break in between exercises. So usually around that 10 repetition or higher rep range is probably going to be a good starting point for people who are brand new beginners. If obviously you're more advanced, then you don't need to necessarily worry about that too much. And then after that comes your volume. So how much are you doing of each exercise? Now, I'm always partial to full body training in the gym, meaning that you do every single body part at least 1 set minimum, and you ideally would be getting at least 2 or 3 sets. All right. So with your volume, you want to think of it as your reps times the amount of weight that you use. So if the weight that you use is 10 kilos, and you did that for 10 repetitions, that's 1,000 kilos of volume. I can't do the math on the top of my head, something like that. That's how much volume that you did that day. Now, from its most basic, simple, fundamental standpoint, a training program, or at least a weight training program, should be designed around doing more than the previous time. All right, so whatever you did last time in that same session, if you did 10 push-ups, 11 push-ups, 12 push-ups, 13 push-ups, whatever it is, the next session you want to achieve at least 1 more, or even a half a repetition more. So if I did 10 push-ups last week on Monday this week, I want to be achieving 1 more repetition. So I'm aiming for at least 11. Now, if on that session you happen to feel stronger and you want to do more, go for it. The whole idea is just to do a little bit more than last time. Now, don't worry about having the absolute best perfect program, because that will change depending on your personal circumstances. But just from a basic understanding of fundamentals of training is how often are you going to train, how hard or how heavy are those weights going to be, and then how much volume are you going to do per body part. So basically, if you're going to be doing 2 days a week, if you're going to be doing about 10 to 20 repetitions, or able to get about 10 to 20 repetitions per body part, and then your volume, how many sets and reps of that are you doing? That's pretty much all you need to worry about for now, just starting off basics. Now, obviously, when I train clients, I include all of this and I do it for you. You don't have to worry and think about all of it. But if you're just looking into this for the first time, you want to get started, that's what I would start focusing on. Just a couple of full body weight training sessions per week. Always try and do a little bit more than the previous session. All right, just start there if you want to do weight training. If you want to just get into basic walking, exercise, play golf, tennis, whatever, that's also fine as well. Don't stress too much about it. Now, once you've decided on a plan and you've decided that you're in this and you want to start improving your body shape and keep going, then it's just a matter of creating these habits long term. Now, one I suppose common saying that I want to try and encourage you to start thinking about more on a daily basis is you're going to fail. All right, at some point you're going to fail. You're going to want to give up. Try and ignore this part. It's not about when you fail, because you will. At some point it'll get hard, difficult, you won't want to do it. When you fail is not what's important. How fast you get back up and get back on the plan is, and that is going to be the biggest determining factor of you getting the results that you want to get. The only time that you fail is when you give up. When you say, that's it, I've had enough, I can't do this anymore, that's it, you've lost. All right, but if you continue to keep moving forward, continue to self-educate, hopefully if you're listening to this, you're interested in self-education, you will forever try to improve yourself. Now, yes, you may not lose 4 kilos in 4 weeks, but you will learn through error. Just like when you're little and you couldn't walk and you tried to walk and you fell down, it's not like you just gave up walking and that was it, that was the end of the life. No, you would try again and try again and try again and try again, and you keep trying and trying and trying. Now, yes, I will plug myself. The benefit of having a coach like me is I get to fast track the results. I get to give you the exact plan. But obviously, you still need to put effort into that plan for it to work and for you to get the results you want to get. Now, I want you to start thinking in terms of, I suppose, when it comes to results, what can you achieve safely and healthily on a weekly basis? For most people, you can achieve about a half a kilo to a kilo per week of weight loss. Now, when it comes to tracking your results, I'm going to do another entire episode on that in of itself, but there's 2 things I always like to preach, and that is you want to take your daily weigh-ins, so you weigh yourself every single day, and then from there you're going to go through your daily weigh-ins, take the average of that, and then just get your weekly average weigh-in, and then you're only going to compare your weekly averages from week to week. Are your weekly averages going down? Fantastic, you're losing some body fat. Now, sometimes it doesn't always reflect on the scale, especially if you're brand new to training and you start lifting some weights, you start gaining some muscle. It may not reflect on the scale every week that you're losing body fat. So the biggest indicator, if you're actually losing body fat, on a weekly basis or even bi-weekly basis, is are your waist measurements going down? So if you're measuring the circumference around your waist, for men, I highly recommend the belly button, so the widest point at the belly button. And then for women, you'll be measuring your small waist. So all the way around, your small waist is just above your hips, just below your ribs. So just the smallest part of your waist. Are these measurements going down? If they are, and the weight does not move, fantastic. Keep doing exactly what you're doing. Measurements are much more they predict your weight loss better than just the scale alone. Just because so many things can affect the scale on a daily or weekly basis, especially with women as well, and menstrual cycle issues, it can just play havoc on the scale. So don't put all of your effort and mindset just purely into the scale itself. You do want to be taking your weekly measurements, more specifically around your waist. Now, when you measure yourself, I'd recommend picking one day of the week, usually first thing in the morning, going and having a shower, going to the toilet first before you eat anything. I would usually suggest either a Friday, Saturday, or a Sunday morning, preferably before any big eating days. So if you're a social eater on the weekend, and it's usually on a Saturday, but your Friday night is good, I would do it Friday morning. Saturday morning. But if you're going out Friday night, then that may play up your measurements may increase or decrease, and it may play up on the scale in terms of how much you weigh or how much you measure that day. Because what you eat 1 or 2 days prior can have an effect on your measurements and your scale the next 1 to 2 days. So usually most people are really good from Monday to Thursday, Friday. Pick one of those days to do your measurements. And then after that, if you're going out socially on the weekend, just understand that it can affect your measurements and your scale the next few days. But from a basic standpoint, that's what I would recommend in terms of what you should be tracking on a weekly basis. If you want to track your weight daily, fantastic, take the average, but your measurements are much more important, because physically, if you can get the tape measure around you tighter than it was last week without forcing it, if it's just physically around you tighter, you are now physically a smaller person. And if it's come off your waist, there's a high probability that it's mostly body fat. Very little chance that you've lost muscle from your waist, okay? Now, to pretty much sum it all up for you, so most people are sort of stuck in, I suppose, freeze mode. It's either lack of motivation or lack of time. And it stems from the idea that training has to be complicated, that you have to become the fitness influencer person who's always posting about nutrition and training all the time. Absolutely not. And I'm not about that at all. If I didn't have a business that was in nutrition and training and helping people lose weight, you'd never see me on social media posting about nutrition and training. I am the least fitness person there is on social media. But I do it because I have a business and I want to help people lose weight. So also understanding that the current position that you're in now is your own fault. All right, just accept it. It is what it is, and you can only make changes moving forward. All right, nobody else. It is purely on you and your responsibility to make those changes. Now, even if you're not doing currently anything now training-wise, anything is better than zero. Just do something. Something is better than nothing, all right? And then you can progress from there depending on how much free time you can start to open up for your training. Now, even if you have been at this for a while and you've been stuck or you've plateaued and you're coming back around for like another transformation, or you've got a holiday coming up and you want to get back into it, start exactly the same. Sometimes you just need a little bit of a self-reset, and just understand that you don't need to be balls to the wall all the time. On or off the wagon is not a good mindset to be in. There's different spectrums to this. So if you're coming back into this and you want to really just start again fresh, start with exactly the same principles. Just accept the fact that you've been eating too much. It's time to reduce the amount of calories you've been eating, and you need to get back into some basic exercise. Now, me going through all of this and telling you all of this isn't necessarily me saying that I'm better than you and I've got a hold of my nutrition and my training and it's perfect. It's just as hard for me as it is for all of my clients. The only main difference is that I've just had more practice. All right? And I get to work with people on a daily basis, and I get exposure to many different lifestyles and food preferences and injuries and just general lifestyles that I have so much more knowledge and time that I get to help you. Okay, and that's going to sum up today's episode, guys. So if you found it helpful, make sure you like, subscribe, share with people that you know if you found this helpful and may help them in the future. If you want to contact me, Shannon Bellows Fitness on any social media platform. And that is it. So thank you for listening to episode 2, the basics of getting started. And I don't know what the next episode will be yet, but if you have any ideas, please send me a message. Speak to you soon. Bye.